Hi guys, welcome to the next video. I just wanted to go ahead and bring forth some information just as I'm receiving it so that I can keep everybody updated along with myself as to what the Lord is bringing to my attention. As you can see here, we've got a picture of Albert Einstein. In our last video, we were talking about some information that he brought to me in regards to time travel. And we spoke of some information in regards to the past, the present, and the future all happening simultaneously. Well, on June the 7th, I was driving to the new house to meet a contractor. We were in the middle of moving at that point. And I was just praying and speaking with the Lord during my drive. It was quiet. I was in the car by myself, and I just had some time that I could come alongside the Lord and just discuss some things. And I had mentioned to him about time and the shortness of it, and was just kind of still pondering on some of the information that he has given me in regards to the last video and the information that I shared in regards to that. And he said a word to me, just a single word to me, and that word was snippet. This is the word that he said to me. And I kind of laughed a little bit because it sounded so, it just sounded like a funny word to me. It's either that or I haven't gotten enough sleep. So anyway, the word snippet, I just thought, oh, well, I'm going to have to take a look at that word and see what it means. Originally, when I thought about the meaning of that word, I thought, well, it seems like it sounds like it's small. I was speaking of time and the shortness of it, and he was just basically saying, a snippet. And I thought, well, maybe we just have a snippet left, And so when I had gotten to the house on June the 7th, we still had not had internet. We didn't have any of that kind of stuff hooked up yet. So I was not able to take a look at it. And most everything that I had is still packed in boxes and actually still is packed in boxes. So I wanted to go ahead and share that information with you. Now, on June the 9th, while I was going through unpacking and trying to get some stuff done, I had a thought come across my mind. And I said, the thought was in regards to this. When we are called into service in the future endeavors with the Lord, will it be like when Jesus was on the Mount of Transfiguration? And so my question is will it be as if it was? And the reason why I'm saying that is because in Matthew 17, when Jesus was transfigured on the Mount, we know that when he came down from the mountain, he was telling the disciples, tell the vision to no one until the Son of Man is risen from the dead. So what he's trying to say here is as he's coming down from the mountain, he's not full of light and, changed as the way that they saw him up on top of the mountain when Peter, James, and John were on top of the mountain and saw Jesus with Moses and Elijah, and so he had changed back into what appeared to be a normal body. So let's take a look at this in Matthew 17. It says, now after 6 days, and guys, we know 6 days, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years like a day. So now after 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother. And so we know this is not all of the disciples. This is part of the disciples. He took them up and led them up on a high mountain by themselves, and he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. Then Peter answered and said to Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. And while he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and suddenly a voice came out of the cloud, saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their faces and were greatly afraid. But Jesus came and touched them and said, "Arise, and do not be afraid." When they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no one but Jesus only. So now, as they came down from the mountain, Jesus commanded them, saying, "Tell the vision to no one until the Son of Man is risen from the dead." And so this tells you here that if they're coming down from the mountain, and Jesus doesn't want them to disclose what they saw, then he is back to a normal, what would be a normal body again. So it would be, he's not, his face is not shining like the sun, and his clothes are back to normal. And so when I saw that, when I had that thought come to mind on June the 9th, this is the scripture that came into my mind. And so I realized at that point that he was not showing himself to be shining like the sun. And so my question is when we are called into service, are we just called into service and then we'll be returning back to a certain area for a bit and then called back into service? I mean, are we going to be on a standby of sorts? So I'm not sure. This is something that was just going through my mind. These are notes and notations and comments that I have in my journal that I wanted to go ahead and notate, because at some point, sometimes these things just tie into one another. Okay. So now on June the 10th, I awoke in the middle of the night and I had this quick vision off to my right. It was some type of a person. And what I was looking at was like a shoulder to knee vision of a person. And I saw a white shirt and I saw like tan pants. But I could tell that the fabric was not something that would be in our time. And it was just a very quick split-second vision of this particular person. I didn't see a face, but here's what I heard. I heard the word snippet again, and then I heard the word fragment. Okay, so now this is twice now I've heard the word snippet, and I also had information coming up about fragment. So I have my internet up now, and so I went ahead and pulled up what the definition of snippet is. And as you can see here, it is a small piece or a brief extract of something. It is a small piece, a bit, a scrap, or a morsel, a small scrap or fragment of something, a small piece of anything, especially if it's been snipped off, a separate part of the whole. It's a small part of something, a bit, a scrap. And notice here that the synonym for snippet is fragment. And that was the word that he gave me on June the 10th when I had that vision of just a few seconds. I saw him off to my right. And so when we're looking at the word fragment, what can we find as far as that? And basically, it's an isolated or incomplete part of something. So it's a part, a bit of something. And when we're looking at what this may mean, it's very interesting to me to see that this is to break into fragments. And so these are small pieces of something. So he's trying to tell us something about this. And snippet is the word that he has said to me twice. But what I found real interesting with the word snippet, when I was taking a look at all of these synonyms, this particular one right here, excerpt and extract, seemed to stand out to me pretty good. And I thought, well, let's just take a look and see what excerpt means. And so when I went ahead and clicked on that, I see that excerpt means it's an extract of something. It's a part or a section of something, some type of snippet, a sample, a reading, some type of quote, a small line. But look right here what the synonym for excerpt is. It's passage. Now I'm going to tell you, as soon as I saw that word, I mean, my interest just peaked up and I went, what in the world? So of course I had to click on it. And let's take a look and see what passage means. The act or process of moving through, under, over, or past something on the way from one place to another. A narrow way, especially having walls on either side, allowing access between buildings or to different rooms within a building. A passageway. So now, when I was reading some of that information, I could not help but recall the scripture, and I'm going to have to pull it up, is in my Father's house there are many rooms, or in my Father's there are many mansions. But I believe that the New International Version actually says that there are many rooms. And so when I thought of that particular scripture, and I'm reading this information in regards to the definition of passage, I really had to start understanding, okay, my Father's house, then he's pointing us to the stars, he's pointing us up, he's telling us about time and time travel, and basically is our Father's house the entire universe? Is it the entire universe? And if he's telling us that there's many rooms and many mansions, there's many areas, there's many places for us to go within the universe. And so that's kind of where my mind went with this, because, this has just been so fantastic. It's so expansive and so far out of my comfort zone. But I'm dabbling into it and I'm trying to dig into it. I have been taking a look and seeing what I can find in regards to the Einstein's theories and how exactly and what exactly that means, and how everything is relating. I have notes and notes and notes of different things in regards to that. But I wanted to just kind of show you a little bit about where my studies are taking me. Now, I'm going to share my studies with you, but guys, I need to let you know that, sometimes when you do studies, you can go off on one path and it's a dead end, and you got to back up and you got to go to another area, and and that could be a dead end, and then you can back it up and go to another area, and then you're back off on the racetrack and finding new information and going along the path that the Lord wants you to go. So stuff like that can happen when we're looking at studies and trying to identify exactly what the Lord is trying to tell us. But I believe that the Lord is showing us something here in regards to this. I know that when I had that dream about my daughter and she was outside of time, and it was talking about communication, there has been some information that has been shared that I would like to share with you as well. In regards to the movie, I think several of you had mentioned one particular movie. I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about some other things when I went in to start digging into Strong's in regards to what fragment and snippet might mean. There's some important information there. And we can just take a look at some of this information and see and see exactly where the Lord may be trying to lead us at this time. So guys, I just want to say thank you. God bless you. Thanks for coming back and watching another video. I'm going to try and continue to do another one here in just in a little while later on this afternoon. But I'm going to go ahead and put this one up. Guys, if you've got any information or want to share some things, I welcome all that you have. And I am slowly going through some of the comments on the last video. So guys, I love you all. Stay under His wing. God bless you. and we'll talk soon.